Hi everybody, welcome to Genius Tech Gadgets. Today, we will go over can HIMARS and MLRS change the fate of the Ukraine war? Watch until at the end to know the abilities of these legendary weapons in Ukraine war zone. The combat-proven multiple launch rocket system, MLRS, M270, is a highly mobile rocket artillery system manufactured by Lockheed Martin Missiles and Fire Control. The M270 features a launch system mounted on a tracked chassis derived from the Bradley infantry fighting vehicle. The launcher can fire various 227mm artillery rockets, including precision-guided types, and Army Tactical Missile System, a TACMS, short-range ballistic missiles, all of which come preloaded in canister ammunition pods. A single M270 can be loaded with 2 pods at a time, allowing it to fire up to 12 rockets, or 2 ATACMS missiles before reloading. The rockets can be fired individually, or in ripples of 2 to 12. Accuracy is maintained in all firing modes, because the computer re-aims the launcher between rounds. The M270 MLRS can be readily transported to the area of operations, for example, by the C-5 transporter by aircraft or train. MLRS offers optimal cross-country mobility, and a road speed of 64 km per hour. The primary MLRS tactical rocket warhead contains 644 M77 munitions, dispelling above the target midair. The dual-purpose bomblets arm during freefall, and a simple drag ribbon orients the bomblets for impact. Each MLRS launcher can deliver almost 8,000 munitions in fewer than 60 seconds, at ranges exceeding 32 kilometers. Other mission-oriented rockets include the Extended Range (ER) rocket, the Reduced Range Practice Rocket (RRPR), with a range of 8 km to 15 km, and the AT-2, which dispenses 28 anti-tank mines a round. The Extended Range missile was first fielded in 1998, and carried 518 improved munitions above 45 km. The MLRS computerized fire control system enables a reduced crew, or even a single soldier, to load and unload the launcher. A portable boom control device and cable hook assembly are used for loading and unloading. The fire control computer allows firing missions to carry out either manually or automatically. In a typical fire mission, a command post transmits the selected target data directly to the MLRS computer. The computer aims the launcher and prompts the crew to arm and fire a pre-selected number of rounds. Multiple mission sequences can be pre-programmed and stored in the computer. MLRS also fires the long-range Lockheed Martin Army Tactical Missile System, a TACMS, guided missiles. The ATACMS family includes Block 1, Block 1A and Block 1A unitary missiles. Block 1 was used during Operation Desert Storm, and carried 950 baseball-sized M74 submunitions, to ranges exceeding 165 kilometers. The Block 1A missile extends the range to more than 300 kilometers by reducing the submunition payload and adding GPS guidance. The Block 1A unitary missile, with a single burst warhead, was first deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in March-April 2003. Lockheed Martin was awarded a first U.S. Army contract for the production of the unitary missile in February 2004, and a second, for 50 missiles, in January 2005. The program to develop the Block 2 missile, with GPS and 13 BAT, brilliant anti-tank, sub-missiles, and Block E missile, with 6 improved BAT sub-missiles, was cancelled in February 2003. Designed by Northrop Grumman, the BAT submunition uses acoustic sensors to detect targets and infrared sensors to guide its terminal flight. Its maximum range is 140 kilometers. Lockheed Martin developed a new extended range guided MLRS, GMLRS, which has a more than 70 kilometers range. The GMLRS XM30 rocket has a GPS, global positioning system, inertial guidance package, and small canards on the rocket nose to enhance accuracy. GMLRS completed system development and demonstration (SDD) tests in December 2002, and entered low-rate initial production in April 2003. Under the LRIP-I contract, deliveries completed in May 2005, Lockheed Martin produced 840 rockets under the LRIP-II contract, awarded in March 2004, and they had made 1,014 rockets under the LRIP-III contract, awarded in February 2005. GMLRS achieved initial operational capability, IOC, in 2006. The system has been deployed operationally since September 2005 in Iraq. The GMLRS is an international program involving the UK, Italy, France, Germany, and the US. The industrial team includes Diehl, MBDA, and Fiat. Avio. Lockheed Martin achieved the production milestone of the 50,000th MLRS rocket in January 2021. The next generation extended range-guided multiple launch rocket system, MLRS, munitions, were successfully flight tested from the U.S. Army's HIMARS launcher at White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico, in March 2021. Deployable by HIMARS and the MLRS M270 family of launchers, the MLRS provides an increased range of up to 150 kilometers. The M142 features a minor launch system, which can only hold one pod at a time, mounted on a 6x6 family of medium tactical vehicles, FMTV, truck chassis. For what the M142 gives up in firepower, it makes up for transportability and on-road mobility. It can even be rapid deployed via a C-130. Either of these systems' maximum range depends on what type of munition they're firing. The longest range artillery rockets currently available for M142 are the M30, submunition warhead, and M31, unitary warhead, precision-guided types, which are GPS/INS guided, and can hit targets out to around 43 miles, 70 kilometers. The far larger ATACMS missiles can engage threats out to 186 miles, 300 kilometers, depending on the variant. To be sure, a Ukrainian military acquisition of either the M270 or the HIMARS presents clear benefits. The most immediate of these would be fielding a new artillery rocket system in production, with a well-established supply chain in the West. Ukraine's rocket artillery capability currently comes from Soviet-era designs, some of which have been modernized by domestic companies over the years. The Ukrainian armed forces have received several RM-70, multiple rocket launchers, MRL, from the Czech Republic, but these are still Cold War-era systems designed to fire Soviet standard 122mm rockets. They also use a wide range of other Soviet-era artillery rocket systems. From a tactical perspective, MLRS and HIMARS are likely to be generally more accurate systems, even with unguided rockets, than any rocket artillery systems currently in Ukrainian service. The fact that the same launcher can fire ATACMS gives it additional flexibility and a true long-range standoff precision capability, beyond the limitations of traditional MLRS. At the same time, various factors could impose limitations on the utility of any M270S or M142 delivered to Ukraine, especially early on in their service. For instance, ATACMS missiles and precision-guided 227mm rockets are not ideal for mass volleys against broad-area targets, such as the enemy armor or artillery formations that Ukrainian forces are staring down in the Donbas region. Any stocks of guided munitions that get sent along with the launchers could very well be small in quantity, at least initially, anyway. Undoubtedly, they could use very selectively, when their more excellent range and ability to hit pinpoint targets would be most helpful, with more traditional rockets continuing to provide massed fire against hostile forces. In a pinch, Ukraine's armed force can use the M30, M31S, against mass targets, and fewer missiles are needed to accomplish the intended effects, due to their precision. Still, the precious nature of these weapons would likely only use in that manner during dire circumstances. The Missile Technology Control Regime, MCTR, a voluntary international arms control pact that the United States and Ukraine are parties to, presents potential hurdles for the transfer of ATACMS missiles. The MTCR mainly focuses on curtailing exports of missiles with ranges of 300 kilometers, 186 miles, or more, and with payloads weighing 500 pounds or more, which includes all ATACMS variants except for the MGM-140B. In addition, in the U.S. military service, MGM-140Bs were also often loaded with lighter warheads to increase their maximum range to 300 kilometers. It's also worth noting that there are, at least presently, the only unguided rockets available for the MLRS, and HIMARS load with cluster munitions warheads. Depending on the exact variant, the submunitions in these warheads, M77 or M85 dual-purpose improved conventional munitions, DPICM, have a long history of questionable reliability. Unexploded submunitions severely threaten the movement of friendly and enemy forces and innocent civilians. The US-supplied rockets loaded with cluster munitions might raise political and pragmatic issues for Ukraine. The Russian military has actively criticized the often indiscriminate employment of cluster munitions and other weapons in the conflict. At the same time, Ukrainian forces have reportedly used their cluster munitions in the fighting. To date, Russia, Ukraine, and the United States remain among the countries that have declined to sign an international agreement that prohibits the production, stockpiling, and employment of certain cluster munitions. Questions of the political optics aside, without precision-guided rockets, let alone ATACMS missiles, MLRS and HIMARS would not necessarily offer the Ukrainian military significant new artillery capabilities over the MRLs it has in service now. Unguided M26 series 227mm rockets would improve accuracy and range over the 122mm systems, versions of the Soviet-era BM-21 Grad, and the more recently acquired RM-70s that the Ukrainian armed forces currently possess. Yet, the longest-range variants of the M26 do not offer dramatically more excellent capability in terms of range than the 220mm types fired from larger Ukrainian BM-27 Uragans, and can't reach the exact distances like the 300mm variants for their BM-30 Smerks. The rockets available for the BM-27 can generally hit targets out to almost 22 miles, 35 kilometers, while most BM-30 fires can engage threats up to 43 miles, 70 kilometers. The extended range M26A1/A2 rocket types have a maximum range of just under 28 miles, 45 kilometers. Russia has BM-27 and BM-30 MRLs, and has been using them in Ukraine. The U.S. military has previously cited the range of the BM-30, among other Russian artillery systems, as one of the driving factors behind efforts to develop new extend-range rockets for HIMARS and the M270. Precision-guided 233mm M30 and M31 rockets for HIMARS and MLRS, on the other hand, offer ranges that can compete with BM-30 Smerch, and can do so with pinpoint accuracy, which the Smerch cannot. This can come in handy in some cases, especially when hitting critical or time-sensitive targets, such as enemy command posts, or as a last resort for taking out or degrading Russia's longest-range artillery systems. The guided rockets can also act as close fire support for troops downrange, which would be very helpful in danger-close situations, especially considering Ukraine has minimal close air support options, especially those of a precision nature. ATACMS is a whole other animal. It would allow Ukraine to make long-range pinpoint strikes, even against hardened targets over nearly 200 miles. Arming the Ukrainian army with this capability would be the most considerable escalation in arms transfer since the start of the war. It would allow Ukraine to make precision strikes deep into Russian territory. While a week ago, the idea of arming Ukraine with ATACMS seemed highly remote, the fact that NATO is now supplying Ukraine with RGM-84 Harpoon anti-ship missiles sets a new precedent. Still, ATACMS, a land attack ballistic missiles, would be a significant step beyond that. Finally, we must underscore again that the precision rockets these systems can fire are expensive, potentially sensitive in terms of technological risk, and would only be available in limited numbers, if at all. This would limit their impact on the battlefield. But even supplying Ukraine with MLRS or HIMARS and unguided rockets would provide a more accurate capability and an assured supply chain via being able to draw down ammunition from US stocks. And, of course, Ukrainian forces would welcome MLRS or HIMARS deliveries and could put them to good use. Artillery, in general, is proving to be a particularly critical asset on both sides in the current fighting in Ukraine's eastern Donbas region. Any additional artillery support capacity could help Ukraine's military to help stave off Russian advances. While MLRS and HIMARS may not provide the kinds of instant tide-turning capabilities that many would hope for, their configuration and ammunition supplies will likely be what they need initially. They are another tool in a growing toolbox that will give Ukraine more tactical options and overall lethality, even if the upgrade is incremental. The senior U.S. official said, American authorities had received assurances from their Ukrainian counterparts that their army would not use HIMARS to strike targets inside Russia. It has not yet clarified whether or not this stipulation covers areas of Ukraine that Russia occupies but considers its territory, namely the Crimean Peninsula, or breakaway regions that the government in Moscow has recognized as independent countries. It remains unclear exactly what will include types of munitions along with the HIMARS launchers. It's also unclear what will consist of other items in the complete military assistance package, valued at approximately $700 million. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to keep up with the latest videos about tools, gadgets, technology, tips, tricks, and more. Check out my playlist, and I'll see you the next to enjoy my playlist, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.